Hello.
Hey, I thought you might like a cup of tea.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Teen.
Especially as there's a change of weather, it's actually snowing outside.
Uh-oh. Well, it is springtime.
I know, so I guess we kind of get a bit of mixed weather at this time of year.
It is.
Is that your dad's watch?
Yeah. Yeah, it's his old watch that I brought back.
Wow. How old is the watch?
Well, it is, it was bought in 1948.
Wow.
And it was actually made, because I looked up the serial number, and it was made in 1945, which happens to be Rolex's 50th anniversary in 1945.
Wow.
So this is a
long time ago.
Rolex Oyster.
Ooh, it's really nice, isn't it?
It is.
Wow.
Watches were a lot smaller in those days.
Yeah, I think it's like everything. Like now everybody wants watches with big faces, don't they?
Yeah, but
And
this
things.
is quite small.
Wow.
It's amazing the connection you can feel with somebody through an object. And I've been, I came across this just a few days ago. I've been rummaging through all the old photographs and documents that I brought back after my dad passed away. And we've been doing quite a bit of family history over the years, haven't we?
Yeah.
So I've been doing a little bit more family history while you're doing your bird watching.
Yeah.
And so the watch was in our drawer as I was finding stuff. It's a shame it's broken, but there is one silver lining.
What's that?
It's accurate twice a day.
Oh, so you mean like 10 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, good job we're not setting any alarms by it, Norm.
No, exactly. But
Wow. I wonder why he actually bought a Rolex and say not a cheaper one like a Timex or Swatch or something.
well, that's a really interesting story. And I guess it all started in the Second World War, when my dad was a wireless operator in the RAF, and he saw that a lot of the fighter pilots in those days were buying Rolex watches instead of the RAF issued watch. So he found himself after the war, he was offered retraining as part of the D-Mob in the UK, and he saw a course to train for a marine operator's radio license, and so that appealed to him because he's a wireless operator.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's what he'd done before, wasn't it?
so he successfully, as he always used to do, throw himself fanatically into it, and he got his marine license. And the man who was training him and a couple of other veterans were, he had connections with the Marconi company. So my dad became a Marconi man in the Merchant Navy, in Marconi Merchant Marine. And so he was subcontracted to different ships as the radio officer.
Wow, sounds really interesting.
So anyway, he ended up sailing on this particular voyage with British Tanker Company, which was the forerunner to BP Oil. So he was on an oil tanker, and he would go to Abadan in Iran, where Britain had got a monopoly on Iran's oil supply.
Wow.
And so on either the way there or the way back, they would stop in Aden, which is now present-day Yemen.
Wow.
And two things about that. Abadan was the world's largest oil refinery at the time, and Aden was one of the two major duty-free ports in the world.
Wow. So really, because I probably don't know too much and other people might not, sort of where is Aden?
Well, it's obviously in the Middle East. It borders Africa, but I guess it's en route to the Persian Gulf. And so he obviously spent some time there and decided that he could save himself a lot of money by buying an expensive watch duty-free.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's normally where all the deals are, isn't it, for jewellery or watches or things?
But this was just post-war, so it was 1948. So the UK, England, was still in austerity mode.
Wow.
So here he was in the Middle East. There was a Rolex watch for sale, and he bought it.
And I actually believe you've actually found the exact store that he bought it in.
Well, this is a fascinating thing about family history, is that I can actually take you to Aden visually and show you the store on the exact day he bought it.
Wow. So I guess we're going traveling.
We are.
We're going back in time.
And we're going to go and visit Aden, and we're going to buy a Rolex Oyster 1945 model in Aden.
That's very exciting.
It is.
Let's go.
So as a radio officer, he was single at the time, hadn't met my mother, so running around the world, and he was on a lot of different ships because he would just go on a contract and then he'd be reassigned. But he got known as a extremely good radio officer, and Marconi in the end used to get requests from ship's captains that they want Bobby as the radio officer, because he had an extremely fast rate of words that he could transmit. But as he explained to me many years ago, it's not how many you can transmit, it's how easily can the person at the other end read them. And so he was in great demand for that and one other talent that he had, because there was a couple of captains he got to know really well, and they would request him.
I'm sure there was.
Because my father had a very good skill at being able to drink Scotch whiskey.
Oh, that's kind of funny, eh? So I guess the acorn doesn't fall far on the tree, Norm. As most of you'll know, that's
so I suppose in the merchant navy there was quite some times where you were off duty up to 16 hours because it was an 8-hour shift.
And drinking a lot of scotch.
Makes the waves go by.
That's amazing.
So on this particular trip, he was on the British tanker company ship called the British Architect.
Wow.
And all those ships were named British something. So it was quite a good fleet that they had. So he was on the British Architect as radio officer. It was the initial one that was built in 1922.
Wow.
So the main reason they went to Aden was it was a British territory in that time, and it was one of the largest bunkering operations for ships, which means a refueling stop. And of course he could have time ashore, and he bought this watch from Aden Co. And they had been ships suppliers, chandlers, since the late 1800s, and they're still in existence today.
Wow.
But they had this shop, and they were an official Rolex dealer.
Wow.
And so my dad got the warranty card and the date that was written on it by the shop was the 5th of April 1948.
Wow, and you still have that, don't you?
We have the warranty
card with the watch. We don't have the box, do we? But
no.
We just...
But this was his pride of joy.
Yeah.
We can see in photographs with his uniform that it had a metal band. that's since gone, and he replaced it with a leather band. And it was his pride and joy. The crying shame is it broke. It just stopped working, and it probably stopped working because my dad didn't have it serviced. I don't think, I never realized you meant to have watches serviced, and he didn't. So it languished in his drawer for many, many years. And then I think he was feeling a bit nostalgic in his retirement. So he contacted Rolex in London, the main office.
Yeah.
And so they said to mail it in, so he did. They took a look at it and mailed it back and said it wasn't something they could fix.
That's a shame, really,
because
isn't
of
it?
parts or what have you, or it's just too old.
Yeah, you kind of think that a manufacturer like that would be able to.
Well, a prestige band, a prestige brand, would look after their product, don't you think?
So I guess he never got it fixed, did he?
So I brought it home after my dad passed away, as a memento, as a reminder, and I would love to wear this watch occasionally.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Maybe not an everyday watch,
but just
special occasions.
Just to remember him and have a tactile connection, which you can lose over the years. Having said that, we've done some research and we think we might have found somebody that could repair it.
Right, and you have reached out to him, haven't you?
Yes, and he's extremely busy. He does a lot of high-end restorations on watches, and he photographs all the steps that he takes. So we're hoping that he might be able to get it going for us, and
that would be nice, wouldn't it?
It would. I don't want to replace any of the faces or anything. I just want to keep it as much as original as possible. But it's a nice watch. It's
nice.
It's compact, so unlike these monster watches you get today where it won't even go under your shirt collar.
I know. And not only that, they're so heavy to wear on your wrist, aren't they, with the big... Wow.
So anyway, that is a story of a watch bought in 1948 in Aden. And it was one of those things, I guess my dad felt, having survived the war, but having had a really bad war, he felt he deserved something.
So he bought himself something nice. That's really nice.
It helped his work as well, because every message he sent was time-stamped. And also he had to monitor the distress frequencies twice every hour.
So time was really important to him, wasn't it?
It was, and a specific time. So yeah, that's the story of my dad's watch and his time in the Merchant Navy until he met my mother and she had him come ashore. But he did go on to have a very illustrious career, back to his passion, which was flying. So he flew for all of his career after coming out of the Merchant Navy.
Wow, fascinating story.
It really is. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. And what should we say? Stay home.
Stay home, stay safe.
See you next time.